Hey there, I'm the _Twig, and I like analysing game rules. There's another new UA, they're really pumping these out at the moment, and it's meant to be vaguely arcane themed, with the 4 missing wizard schools, Arcana Cleric, Arcane Archer, a redo of the Hexblade, and new subclasses for Monk and Sorcerer. Some of it I like a lot, and some of it I have absolute fundamental design issues with, and will be sending back with a big fail mark. And to deliver that fail mark, I will be employing the amazing Twig Postal Service, as staffed by the members of my Patreon. These guys make sure that all of your mail is delivered on time. As an international force, they direct the USPS, the Royal Mail, POS Malaysia, and every other postal service on Earth. Bet you didn't know that there was a shadowy post cabal. I'd particularly like to thank our high-ranking officers, SK, Mark Rainbow, Biney, and Jalali, who will each be receiving their own private biplanes. Right, welcome to the PDF. I got some comments last time saying that the PDF was a bit hard to read, so I've zoomed in a bit and changed my viewer over to Firefox, so hopefully this is better for you now. So, I'm actually going to start with the Hexblade. They clearly heard everyone complaining. There was a lot of complaining last time. I think that was about 2 months ago, wasn't it? For the record, I actually kind of liked the previous version of the Hexblade, where it was very focused on Hex. I thought that it was an interesting sort of avenue for development. I didn't think it was perfect, but it was alright, and it was worthy of looking into. Having said that, this version is better. This version is absolutely better. This is a really good Hexblade, I think. We'll start with the spell list. It is a slight downgrade from last time. I think that they previously had Magic Weapon here, and Bestow Curse was previously Dispel Magic. I'd say that is worse. I did notice actually that with Arcane Vigor, Hex, Shield, and Wrathful Smite, that is actually 3 first level spells and 1 second level spell, which is different from all of the other warlocks. So I'm not sure if that is a mistake, but I don't mind this actually. I think that Wrathful Smite is a good enough spell that it is probably worth having. Maybe not on a warlock, I guess, but if you're just doing a sort of a 1 level dip in Sorcerer or something, I'd rather have Wrathful Smite than Magic Weapon. They also get Shield and Conjure Barrage still, so those are the 2 that we really cared about. Those are the brilliant spells on this list. But moving on to the Hexblade's Curse. This is a new version of the feature. It is now Charisma times per day. It is a bonus action, or you can cast it with no action required when you cast a spell using a spell slot that curses a target. Now, that is very vague. The only 2 spells on the Warlock spell list that specifically mention cursing are Hex and Bestow Curse. But I feel like things like Bane, or Tasha's Hideous Laughter, or Crown of Madness, those should also apply curses, I would have thought. So I would probably allow those. Technically, there's nothing that says that they should be allowed. Maybe this feature should be when you use a spell slot to either cast a Hex or cast a spell that causes a condition. I think that would be better, because cursing isn't really rules text. Moving on though, what it does. We get 2 features. A Cursed Shield first. When you aren't wearing armour and you're within 10 feet of the target of your Hexblade's Curse, you get +2 AC. That is pretty good. Yeah, that's good. It does mean that you almost certainly want Armour of Shadows for at-will mage armour. That would mean that your AC was 15 plus Dex, which is perfectly respectable. That is a fine AC. You're going to get magic items like Braces of Defense, so I'm fine with that. That is perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm okay. The other thing that you get is Hungering Hex. So whenever the target of your Hexblade's Curse dies, you get 1d8 plus Charisma healing. Sure, why not? That is alright. Also at level 3, Unyielding Will. You get a legendary resistance for concentration saves. That's very good. When you use it, you also get 1d10 plus Warlock level temp HP. That's very good. And whenever you succeed on a concentration save, including when you use your legendary resistance, you do a little bit of splash damage. Sure. Again, a very respectable feature. This is good. Moving on to 6th level, we get effectively 3 features here. First up, Hindering Curse is the previous version's stymieing maneuver, stymieing strike, can't remember what it was called. Whenever you hit someone with an attack roll, they have disadvantage on their next save. Cool, yeah, that is fine. Either set up something for the wizard, set up something for your next turn, or if you're using a weapon then you've somehow got topple on it, that will immediately give them disadvantage on the topple save. Cool. Also we get Harrowing Hex, so this is a bonus action immediately after you cast a 1+ level spell. Cool. Again, if you're multiclassing into Sorcerer or something, you can cast, I don't know, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, then immediately attack them. Great, yeah, I'm happy with that, that is fine. And we also get Inescapable Hex. When someone tries to run away from you, you can chase them. Great. Again, this is a very respectable, solid feature. This Hexblade is just decent, which is lovely. We now have level 10 Armour of Hexes, again a new version. Whenever you take damage from the target of your Hexblade's curse, use a reaction to reduce the damage by your Warlock level. It's effectively, it's a targeted version of Uncanny Dodge. I'm okay with that, sure. This also works on saving throws, so if you put your Hexblade's curse on a dragon or something, you can use Armour of Hexes against its breath weapon. Nice. Yeah, okay. And then finally at level 14 our Capstone, Masterful Hex. We get our expanded critical range, which we've always had, and we get a little bit of splash damage once per long rest, 3d6 in a 30-foot emanation when we hit our Hexblade Curse target, and we also reduce everyone's speed by 10. Again, not especially flashy, but good. And we get our Hexblade's Curse back on a short rest. One charge of it, at least. This isn't the most flashy capstone, but it's good. I don't mind this. Yeah. Hexblade. It's not the most flashy thing in the world, but it's good. It's just solid. This is a really, really well designed subclass. I like it a lot. All of the features are good, none of them are busted. It encourages you into melee with things like a cursed shield, but it doesn't require you to use a weapon outside of specifically Harrowing Hex. And I actually just really like that they found a way to give it a decent AC without having to give it armour. I don't think that the Hexblade should have ever had the armour, so this is nice to see. I might change this personally so that it says, whilst you aren't wearing medium or heavy armour or wielding a shield, because I'd be fine with Warlocks getting like light armour and the +2. I don't see any problem with that. It saves a invocation. That's fine. Yeah. I'm overall really happy with this new Hexblade. Okay, the next one that we have is the Tattooed Warrior, which is a monk subclass. This is very reminiscent of the old 2014 version of the 4 Elements, but it is vastly improved. And the way that they've done that is they've essentially made all of the features sort of either support or non-combat, rather than the old, the 4 elements had so many bad blast spells for some reason, which just weren't good to use. So, what does this do? Well, at 3rd level, we get to pick 2 of these sort of, they call them tattoos, they're kind of like the old 4 elements disciplines. Essentially, it's a cantrip and something else that you can spend a focus point on. Either a spell, or it upgrades one of your sort of basic focus point abilities like Patient Defense, Step of the Wind, and Flurry of Blows. I think that sort of the ones that are getting all of the attention here are Spider and Crane. Spider essentially gives your Flurry of Blows the Sap Mastery and also gives you Mending, which is a fine cantrip. And then Crane gives your Flurry of Blows sort of an anti-vex, where if you miss, you get advantage following that. It also gives you Guidance, which is a really good cantrip. These 2 just improve Flurry of Blows, which is kind of what Monk wants to be doing anyways, so that makes them just really good. Yeah. Having said that, I don't think that they are the only things that you will ever pick. This Magic Tattoos feature up here is basically just explaining how the tattoos work, and it says that you can change one of them every time you finish a long rest. And that means that if you're having a social day, I can absolutely see you choosing Butterfly or Chameleon for either Silent Image or Minor Illusion in Disguise Self. I could maybe see Bats if you're like a human and you're in a cave. I probably can't see Horse or Tortoise coming up without some very specific circumstances, but overall, I'm happy with this feature. The next one, Celestial Tattoo, gives you a 2nd level spell that you can cast with 2 focus points. And as I said, these are typically either support or non-combat options. I think that Invisibility or Lesser Restoration are very respectable picks. These are good spells. I would happily spend 2 focus points on either of these. Misty Step is normally a good spell, but it is weird on the Monk because they have Step of the Wind. Why would you be using Misty Step instead of Step of the Wind? It's cheaper. It means that you can pick something else as your feature here. I think the Misty Step is just not a good fit for the Monk specifically, so I would probably change this one. And then finally, we have the best meme that WotC have printed in years. You can cast Find Traps with 2 focus points. Oh my god, that is fantastically funny. That is so good. Hang on. I'm gonna cast Find Traps for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna give up 2 of my stunning strikes. Find Traps. Okay. One of these is a trap. One of them is a trap. I'm not sure which one is a trap, but one of them is. Sorry, I can't tell you any more than that. Obviously they need to change this. But I find it so funny. I almost want them to keep it just because it's such a good joke. But please don't keep this, WotC. Please do not take what I just said there as a request to keep it. Do not keep this. It's terrible. Right, moving on. Level 11, Nature Tattoo. This gives you 3 focus points to get a resistance for a minute, and whilst you have it, you also get advantage on 1 saving throw. You either get Acid and Constitution, Lightning and Dex, Fire and Strength, or Cold and Wisdom. And this is overcosted as hell. Oh my word, it's even like a full magic action, so Okay, so first up, at level 11. At level 10, the Fiend Patron Warlock just got a completely flexible resistance. They can choose literally anything, even like bludgeoning if they want, for free at the start of the day, and it's on for the full day, and they can change it every single day. What the hell is this? What? Okay, these resistances should just be always on. Like, obviously, they should just be always on. And even then, I'm not sure that I'm spending 3 focus points and a full action to get advantage on a saving throw. Especially because I think that at this point we're 3 levels away from having every saving throw proficiency. This is not a good feature. This is not a good feature. Swap this out, please. Whatsy? Okay, moving on. Monster Tattoo. This gives you some quite powerful effects. There's no real sort of consistency as to what they do. No focus point consistency. No, I mean, this one doesn't even use focus points. They're just sort of powerful options. First up we have Beholder. 3 focus points to cast a counterspell. That's very good. And you also get a fly speed of 10 feet. Now, I have seen people complaining about this, saying, well, why would I use 10-foot fly speed? I've got, like, at this point you've got 55 feet walk speed, so 10-foot fly speed, that's nothing. I'm never using this. Well, I can tell you the answer to this one. This is because this feature has been designed by somebody who actually does understand how the speed and movement rules work. If you're the person from Whatsy who's been watching my videos and has realised that your speed and movement rules are freaking horrendous, and so went away and learnt them and probably suffered an aneurysm because of it, thank you very much. Thank you for your patronage. I'm sorry for your loss, but you've designed a very good feature here. This thing benefits from unarmoured movement. So, I know it says 10 feet, this is actually 35-foot fly speed. And next level it becomes 40-foot fly speed. That is far more respectable. That is a pretty good feature, and you get counterspell on top of it. Yeah, Beholder is good. I should probably make a movement video at some point, shouldn't I? God, I get to make you suffer so much from that. Oh dear, yeah, I should do that. Okay, moving on, Blink Dark. So, when you use Patient Defense, you can spend 3 focus points to immediately cast Blink. So, 2 problems with this. First up, if you cast Blink and you get the 50-50 to disappear, you didn't need to cast Patient Defense. So that feels kind of a waste. And the other thing here is that it doesn't say that you need to... Well, no. What it does say is that you cast Blink immediately after the bonus action. It does not say that you cast it without using an action. So you still have to use the action. You can't use the attack action and then Patient Defense and then Blink, because you've already used your action. I think that is a mistake. I think that is intended to be free, but it currently isn't, and that makes it kind of really bad, actually. If this is indeed a mistake and it's meant to be free, just like fix that and it becomes a decent option. I still don't quite like the fact that Blink makes Patient Defense wasted, but it's fine. The other one that we get here is Displace a Beast. When you use Step of the Wind with a focus point, you can spend 2 more to use Mirror Image immediately after the bonus action. Again, this still requires your action, it does not make it free, so it is not very good. But, assuming that is a mistake, it is very good. If this is indeed a mistake, yeah, I really like this one. This is challenging Beholder. That's a fantastic feature. assuming it's a mistake. And the last one that we get is Guardian Naga, which is one of these sort of Death Ward style features where you regain some hit points 2 times your monk level when you drop to 0. I never like these features. I don't think that they're good. I wouldn't take Guardian Naga. It's... nah, not for me. Overall, I think that the Tattoo Warrior is... it's an interesting design choice. I think it is far, far better than the old 4 Elements Monk, primarily because it is not combat focused. It's a load of things that you get for free when in combat, or are sort of non-combat options. Yeah, that is fine. I think that it needs a bit of balancing between the features. Tortoise, I can basically never see myself picking. Comet is a complete joke. Blink Dog and Displaced Beast need a bit of a fix, and I think that Nature Tattoo probably needs full rewrites. This is just a bad feature, honestly. I feel like this could be always on, and it would be, like, decent. Yeah. Overall, I'm fine with this. I don't mind it. Right, moving on to the Conjurer. This is one of the sort of the downsides of this new PDF viewer. I can't have the full thing on screen at once, but oh well. Zooming in is probably more important, I think. Right, I'm going to start with Conjuration Savant. This is one of the best savants that the wizard has access to. Not all of the savants are worth sort of equal merit. Conjuration is a particularly good one. The Conjuration list that the wizard has access to is really, really good. Obviously you've got all of your summon spells, all of your teleport spells, but you also have things like Sleet Storm, Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron, you've got Web, you've got Maze, even Wish is a Conjuration spell. This is a fantastic Conjuration list. The Savant feature here is brilliant. Other than that though, at level 3 you also get Benign Transposition, which is... it's kind of like a bootleg Misty Step. It requires an action, which is significantly worse, but you can use it to swap places with a ally. I mean, I would use it. I would definitely use it. I'm not excited about it. Conjuration Savant is the thing that I like at 3rd level. Benign Transposition is... meh. 6th level, we get Distant Transposition, which upgrades Benign Transposition so that it is 60-foot range. Fine. And we also get it back as a Short Rest. Okay, I'm still not exactly impressed with it. It's alright. Yeah, okay. We also get Durable Summons. Whenever we summon a creature, specifically using a Conjuration spell and a spell slot, it gains temp HP equal to twice our wizard level. That's alright, it makes our summons more durable, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. It doesn't work on Summon Undead, because that is a Necromancy spell. It doesn't work on Find Familiar, because that is a Ritual spell, although we can use the a spell slot on it if we particularly want to give it a bunch of temp HP. Overall, I'm fine with this. A bit more survivability on the summons is okay. Sure. And then at 10th level we get Focused Conjuration. This is the same as it always was. We can't lose concentration on conjuration spells. That is a brilliant feature. It works on everything that I mentioned previously that is a concentration spell. Yeah, this is a really good one. Then at level 14, Quick Transposition. It's another benign transposition upgrade. Makes it a bonus action. So we can stop preparing Misty Step now, I guess. And we also get to use it as a reaction to swaps places with an ally when we would take an attack. The Psywarper in the Scion had a feature very like this, and I'm going to say the same thing again. Discuss this with your party. A lot of players do not like the idea of taking attacks for basically any reason. You might want to swap with your Paladin because they've got, like, probably at this point, I don't know, they might have like a 24 AC. It could be something silly like that. And you might want to swap with them because then they're very unlikely to take the attack. Your Paladin might not want to. Your Paladin might really be against taking attacks for any reason. Some players are just like that. Discuss this with your party. It is going to be slightly better on the Conjurer than it was on the Psywarper because you have all of your summons. You can swap with a Summon Dragon or even your Familiar. This has uses. Overall, I wish that the Conjuration Wizard was more focused on summoning. I want a summoner, not a teleporter, personally. I'm fine with this, but it's not what I wanted. I'd probably prefer to swap out some of these benign transposition upgrades for, I don't know, your summons do 2 extra damage with their attacks. Something like that. Or maybe you can cast a summon spell once per day without concentration. Cool. Yeah, that sort of thing. I don't know. I would prefer a summoner. Yo, editing twig here. Basically, immediately after recording this, I had a much better idea for a feature. As you'll see soon, the Enchanter and Transmuter have features which essentially give them a free twin spell at 6. Basically, if the Transmuter casts Fly, it is automatically upcast for free so they can target 2 people. What if the Conjurer had something similar, where whenever they summon a creature using a Conjuration spell, its stat block treated the spell as 1 level higher? That would mean that a 3rd level casting would have 2 attacks and slightly boosted HP and AC. I think that something like that would make them the game's premier summoner, which is exactly what the Conjurer should be. So, we are now on the Enchanter, and I'm going to do something a bit different for this one. You see, this video, just surprisingly, has a celebrity guest. Coming in from Greek mythology, the son of Iapetius. He holds the weight of the world on his shoulders. Knighted by the god of all wizards, he carries the hammer of bands around. You probably don't know him. I demand that you love him. It's Sir Atlas. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing alright, though the weight of the world just got that much heavier with the introduction of this new enchanter.
Oh yes? You mean you don't love it?
No, I most certainly do not.
So Atlas is one of my sort of game design buddies. We both have a system that we're working on that's a completely custom system, and we send things back and forth between us to sort of look at. He's also a mod for Treant Monk, so he has a pretty good understanding of 5e as well. Right, so you have been messaging me for like the last 2 days complaining about this enchanter. It's not good. And I thought that rather than just doing this on my own, it'd be fun to give you a platform to release your grievances on the world.
I think that we can actually see that right from the get-go, not even with the actual features themselves, but with the description of the class, the little header that they have, which specifies that the Enchanter, as a subclass, is meant to entrance and beguile others.
Yes.
I think that's just an important note to hold on to as we go through this subclass.
Okay, let's hold on to that. From my end, before we start talking, when I think of an enchanter, I'm thinking of somebody like Wormtongue from The Lord of the Rings. Obviously, Wormtongue doesn't actually use magic, he's just really good at talking, really. But that is the sort of guy that I am going for with an enchanter.
Likewise, I've made plenty of enchanters. One of my favorite characters I've ever made is an enchanter. And that kind of manipulative, planning type of character is the core of what an enchanter is meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think that Enchanting Talker, the first feature on this list, is honestly really good at encompassing that thing that we want out of an enchanter. It definitely helps to entrance and beguile others.
Yeah, it lets you add your intelligence modifier to any charisma check. This lets you be sort of a face wizard. Those of you who watched my Scion videos will know that I used a similar feature to this a lot. It's really good.
Yeah, it's very good. It's funny, I actually, personally, when I saw those Scion videos of yours, I was thinking of multi-classing the 2 levels of Scion for that feature and maybe one of the other disciplines with the old Enchanting Wizard, so that I would have that ability to face even harder alongside getting Command, which, as you'll see, is a spell that we really, really want on this subclass.
Oh god, yeah. No, Command is probably the best enchantment spell. It is probably the best sort of spammable first level spell. It's a really good spell. We don't get it on this.
Yeah. And speaking of spells, I would like to now move on with Enchantment Savant, which ties in with the spell list because there's a decent amount of spells that you want on this list, but at the same time, we are really lacking in certain levels.
There's no 3rd level, there's no 7th level, and both of the 4th level spells that you have access to are kind of mediocre. It's Charm Monster and Confusion.
Yeah, like Confusion isn't the worst spell in the world, but when you compare it to the options you got at level 3, you really start to see the cracks.
Yeah. And some people say that, like, Hypnotic Pattern is an overrated spell because lots of things are immune to charm. Well, also at level 3 you got Slow. And Slow is an amazing spell.
And to those who are wondering, no, Hypnotic Pattern is not an enchantment spell, it is an illusion spell.
Yes.
Don't ask me why.
So you cannot take it on Enchantment Savant for reasons.
Yeah. The Illusionist is right next door. I hope you enjoy Summon Beast and Summon Fae. But if you want to embrace the way of the Enchanter, next up we get quite the perplexing ability, Vexing Movement. This one allows the Enchanter to, after dedicating their action to casting an enchantment spell that costs a spell slot, so cantrips are not allowed here, scrolls are not allowed here, you can take both the disengage and dash actions as a bonus action. Limited times per day, though, only intelligence mod.
It's amazing. You get, like, a very limited version of Cunning Action. Oh, yay.
Yeah. Cunning Action, Step of the Wind. We've seen this feature so many times before, and in this specific scenario, the restrictions make it very rough.
Yes.
See, the issue with this feature is that most enchantment spells are, first off, concentration spells. And second off, what I would describe as fight openers. Ones that you would want to cast turn 1. So unless you're out of position on turn 1 and want to then use Vexing Movement to reposition, you're not going to be using this feature. And if you're already caught out, well, you have Misty Step.
Yeah, which does essentially the same thing. And I mean, Misty Step you can't use if you cast a spell with a spell slot as your action. But, like, you can scroll it.
You can scroll it, you can do a lot of other things. Hell, if you're already concentrating on a spell, Misty stepping away, then using your action to dodge is arguably more optimal than using Vexing Movement.
Yep, I would agree to that. No, this is just a really bad feature, and what's it got to do with an enchanter?
It doesn't. It does not entrance, it does not beguile. It is a movement ability on a mostly control-oriented caster.
Let's move on to level 6.
Yeah, let's move on to level 6, which kind of also ties into the rogue theming, where we get Reflecting Charm. If a creature within 30 feet of you hits you with an attack, to have the damage, and then do very pitiful damage back to the attacker, potentially.
Wisdom level, half your wizard level plus intelligence. So that is 7 when you get this feature probably, and goes up to 15 maximum. And that is a Sable Suck, it is not a Sable Half.
Yeah, the half damage wouldn't even help much here, but at the same time, the effect is just so lackluster. You're more or less saving this for if you get crit.
Yep.
And even then, most of the time, if you're getting attacked repeatedly, you're probably instead casting a spell that gives you +5 AC for the rest of the round.
Nah. Shield's a terrible spell.
No, you're right. It is a bit overrated.
Yeah. Something that I would like to bring up is that this is once per long rest for reasons, but you can get it back if you spend a 2nd level spell slot. Yeah.
Please, I beg all of you, never use a 2nd level spell slot on this. This is not worth a 2nd level spell slot. This is Uncanny Dodge from the Rogue, which is not a good feature.
So, obviously on this channel, we typically only use 2024 onwards. But if you are using backwards compatible stuff, have you ever heard of a spell called Absorb Elements?
Yes, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, that does something kind of similar to this.
Yeah, except it's a lot more flexible because it doesn't. You don't have to be targeted with an attack. You just have to have received damage.
Yep.
And it is damage of, honestly, a lot of very common types, which, like, for example, if you're being hit with a Dragon's Breath for like 70 damage and you fail the dex save because you're a wizard, Absorb Elements is there to make sure that you don't die.
Yeah. And this you couldn't use on that Dragon's Breath.
No, you could not. On top of that, again, we just really don't have anything that just compensates for the fact that the use is so limited. If you compare this with the previous feature that was on this, Instinctive Charm, which, for the record, I think is just as bad as this one, but it at least gave us the favor of not eating our spell slots. What Instinctive Charm did was, if you were attacked by someone, you could force the wisdom save. Then on a failed save, they wouldn't attack you at all. Instead, they would attack someone else.
Yeah, it's...
Again, it's not the best feature. but neither is this.
No. What I was kind of wondering, because what we essentially have here is like a weird skirmisher wizard for some reason on the Enchanter. It's essentially a rogue wizard. The Enchanter used to get Hypnotic Gaze, which was a really, really unique feature that was essentially an infinite use single target lockdown. You couldn't use it again if the target succeeded on its save and it used your action every single turn. But if you were already concentrating on something and somebody passed the hypnotic pattern, then you could lock down one other creature. That was really useful. And it required you to be in melee. And I was just wondering if these features were introduced when Hypnotic Gaze was still a thing.
Honestly, it really feels like that. And Hypnotic Gaze would complement them very well, because if you're in the thick of it, you more likely than not have people within 30 feet of you, so you could use Reflecting Charm. And if you run up and Hypnotic Gaze someone, and they pass their save, maybe Vexing Movement would have let you use the bonus action to GTFO.
Yeah.
There's a lot that kind of screams that this subclass is just missing something, and the core of this does feel like it was built around having Hypnotic Gaze as a feature.
But they removed it. For some reason.
And it's such a shame, too, because Hypnotic Gaze was such a flexible feature. It was one that you could genuinely build a character around. You could use it under Invisibility. You could use it while under Sanctuary. Like I mentioned with Vexing Movement, you could use it if someone passed the save. You could do the same thing with Misty Step. There was a lot that you could do with the Hypnotic Gaze, and it was very much subclass defining. Of course, eventually it fell off when Charm Immunity started to run rampant, but at low to mid levels, this was a 5-star feature in my eyes.
Yeah, no, it was a really, really good feature. But we are now a rogue. Let's move on. Let's become a sorcerer. Yes, with Split Enchantment. When we cast our enchantment spells, we get a free twin spell, which on paper sounds really good until you realize this isn't 2014 twin spell anymore. This is 2024 twin spell, which still a good feature, just not on this wizard. Yes, you were originally alright with this one. This was one of the few features that you were actually quite hot on. And then I showed you what the spell list is. The spell list is Charm Person, Charm Monster, Hold Person, Hold Monster, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Those 5 spells are all you can use this with, using the Wizard class list alone. There are a few others that you can get, like maybe if you took Magic Initiate Cleric, you can get Command. That's a very good use for Split Enchantment. But yeah, like I said earlier, you really want Command on this wizard. You really do. But you don't have Command on the wizard. There's multiple ways of getting it. You can get it on Magic Initiate Wizard, you can get it by dipping, you can get it by taking Fey Touched. But a lot of investment just for that one spell. Without it, this is... It's alright. I mean, I am a big fan of Tasha's Hideous Laughter, I must say. I am too. I would also add, if you allow expanded content, you also get Tasha's Mind Whip, though if we look at the Unearthed Arcana for that spell, yeah, that got murdered. Really did. But the one thing I want to mention with Split Enchantment, and the thing that really soured it on me, is if you look back, the thing that we brought up earlier was Twin Spell. And with Twin Spell,
yes, it got this same restriction, and that restriction is very much fair.
Yes, it was a necessary restriction.
It was 100% necessary, but it got compensation.
Mm-hmm.
It went from costing a number of sorcery points equal to the spell slot you use to only costing 1 sorcery point every time.
Yes.
So your hold monster could be from level 5 to level 6 at the cost of 1 sorcery point instead of 5.
Yep.
It was much cheaper. There's nothing like that for this split enchantment feature.
No, no
compensation buff.
It is just a nerf. And I mean, it is a fair nerf. Should you have been able to twin suggestion? Probably not. But it is just a strict nerf.
Yeah, like, you lost suggestion, you lost dominate person monster. You also lost befuddlement, which would have been a very good spell to twin.
Befuddlement's such a good spell.
There's a lot of other ones, but we're not going to go through all of them. Again, a warranted nerf, but we really needed some sort of compensation especially when we basically gutted the rest of the subclass.
Yeah.
Which then leads us to level 14.
Yes, bolstering belief.
Why don't you read this one off?
Sure, okay. So, you always have Powered Fortify, and you can cast it without a spell slot. And when you do, whoever you target with it, Powered Fortify gives you 120 temp HP that you can just spread around your party basically at will. Anyone who has those temp HP, it has to be specifically the temp HP from Powered Fortify, it has advantage on Charmed and Frightened. I mean, Powered Fortify it's a 7th level spell. It's an alright 7th level spell, but this is a 14th level feature, and I personally think that advantage on Charmed and Frightened conditions isn't enough. This should be immunity, in my opinion.
Really? You think it's immune? I don't know. I feel like advantage, that's typically enough, is it not?
I mean, I think that there's like so many things that can give you immunity already at this level. Paladin can. There's Hero's Feast can give you immunity. Powered Fortify is also a spell that is typically best used by focusing as many of the temp HP on one person as you can, turning them into a super tank, rather than spreading 20 temp HP to each of your allies. That makes them all, slightly more bulky.
Yeah, I will say, I came into this with the assumption of this feature being stronger than what we had before, and it probably still is, but man, I don't know if it's that silver tongue of yours or not, but I think you've managed to convince me that this feature is worse than I thought it was. Thank you.
It's alright. It is my job, after all, to tell everyone that things suck. That's not true. I like several things in Hiss. You've already heard about my opinion on the new Hexblade. I love it.
Yeah, that new Hexblade, so good. But going back to this, I think the other thing with bolstering belief is even if you think it's mechanically stronger, which probably is, because again, a 7th level spell slot is a 7th level spell slot.
Yeah.
It's just a total, complete, and utter thematic failure. And that can't be more apparent unless you compare it to what we got from the 2014 Enchanter, which is Alter Memories. And Alter Memories had 2 parts to it, but the part I want to focus on is something that I think Enchanter might honestly even need right from level 3, which is that they had the ability to make people remain unaware that they were charmed by you from spells like Charm Person, even after the spell ends.
Currently, Charm Person and Friends and stuff like that are more like Create Enemy. And the old Alter Memories fix that. I could absolutely see having people don't realise that you charmed them straight from the 3rd level. That would be a really good way of making our Worm Tongue style character.
Yeah, honestly, maybe get rid of Vexing Movement for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would 100% be fine focusing on out of combat at level 3.
Yeah,
That's totally
if you
cool
had
to me.
Enchanting Talker and people don't realise you charmed them at level 3 alongside Enchantment Savant, that would be a fairly good level 3 subclass.
Yeah. Then replace level 6 entirely because honestly, no matter which form you look at it, they both suck.
Yep.
Maybe just give us something more interesting. Maybe give us commands at this level.
Turn it into a glamour bard.
Yeah, why not? We get to take a form of glamour and we can cast command as a bonus action. Why not? At this point. But level 10, maybe add us like a even just like a ribbon feature, just something to compensate for the loss of power we got there. And then level 14, we just again, maybe give us a different level 7 spell or level 6 spell. Maybe give us like mass suggestion, but you can like make it mass dominate person or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
That might be a bit too powerful, but yeah.
Probably.
Something along those sorts of lines. Bolstering Belief just has big clashes between wanting to spread out or isolate those temp HP, and the advantage should be immunity. I'm convinced that should be immunity.
I'm thoroughly convinced as well. I feel like, I mean, like I said, I think that Power Word Fortify is not the spell that we should be getting as a max level enchanter.
I mean, it's not exactly letting you entrance or beguile others.
Exactly. Like I said, that tagline, honestly, just, it's so ironic that that's the tagline for this version of the subclass, because I don't see how running around at the speed of sound is exactly beguiling.
No. What we are effectively is a rogue. We even get a pseudo version of expertise.
Yeah. Yeah, Enchanting Talker, if you think about it, is basically expertise, but for charisma skills. Oh my god. But yeah, to sum up this enchanter, mechanically, I would say it is on par at best, but much weaker at worst, and I personally lean much towards that much weaker side myself.
Yeah.
But thematically, it just does not fit at all. It feels like you're missing something, and honestly, I really do agree with you that Hypnotic Gaze is just the piece that's missing from this chassis. If this chassis had Hypnotic Gaze, it would feel more succinct. I don't think that Hypnotic Gaze needs to come back, I will say. I love Hypnotic Gaze. I'm fine with it going, if that's the direction WotC wants to take. But this should not be what we get in replacement of it.
Something I was just thinking about there. What if, right, at level 3, Enchanting Talker, Enchantment Savant, and Alter Memories. Then at level 6, Hypnotic Gaze.
That. I could see that. And then maybe level 14, and again, maybe I'm spitballing a little higher on the power curve here. I would really personally like to see an ability to maybe once per day ignore charm immunity.
Yeah, that would be really cool, actually. That would be really cool.
Because charm immunity is something that enchantment spells all run into. It doesn't matter what the spell is. And even just being able to ignore it once per day,
Yeah.
I think would be enough to just really let you exemplify that beguiling. You're able to convince even those who cannot be magically convinced otherwise.
Yeah, no, that sounds really cool. I like that a lot. So, that there is the Enchantment Wizard. Thank you for joining us, Atlas.
Thank you for having me.
That's all right. We're going to move on now to the Necromancer.
Best of luck.
After that, we are on to the Necromancer. Right, this one. Necromancy Savant. This one is not good. This one is very, very lacking. The best spell that you have before 3rd level is False Life. There are 4 spells before 1st level, and False Life is the only one that I would consider like any good at all. The only 4th level spell that you have is Blight. There are no 5th levels. The only 7th, 8th, and 9th level spells are Finger of Death, Clone, and Astral Projection. The Savants are not built equally. This one is not good. Also at 3rd level though, we get Necromancy Spellbook. This gives us resistance to necrotic damage. Sure, I will take resistance, that's fine. And we get Grim Harvest, which lets us give a small amount of temp HP, spell slot plus intelligence modifier when we cast a necromancy spell with a spell slot. And if you remember what I just said about the Necromancy Savant, the necromancy spells are not good. This looks like it could be a half-decent feature. It's not. The problem here is that necromancy spells, just like, there aren't good ones. Yeah. Moving on though, level 6, Grave Power. We get to recover from exhaustion when we use Arcane Recovery. Great, I think. Don't know how much that's going to come up. And we get to ignore resistance to necrotic damage. So, I've looked through all of the spells that do necrotic damage on the Wizard spell list, and the only one that you are actually kind of likely to cast is Toll the Dead. This is not good. This is not good, because necrotic damage spells on the Wizard spell list are not good. Moving on. Undead Thralls. You automatically get Summon Undead, and when you cast it without spending a spell slot, which you can do once per day, you can halve its hit points to heal yourself by that amount. So, on the Ghost and the Putrid, I think it is, this heals 15, drains them down to 15. On the Skeleton, it heals 10, drains the Skeleton down to 10. This is not good. Why does it drain the enemy? Why are the HP numbers so low? Yeah. Not great. Also, when I am a 5th level, and I get my Necromancy Savant, I want to choose the spell that lets me summon undead. Because I'm a necromancer, I want to have undead, I want to make zombies and skeletons and ghosts. But then I get to 6th level, and that means that I've just sort of wasted half of my feature? Like, what? Yeah, no, I don't like this one. This is not good. And then at level 10, we get Undead Secrets. This is another one of these sort of Death Ward type features, except it costs a 4+ spell slot to do. Why? These are not good. But we do also get the ability, for some reason, to teleport when we're below half health as a reaction. And also do a little bit of splash damage when we do it. I mean, fine. I don't know why this is on the Necromancer, but okay. I will, however, say that whoever wrote Immediately after you take damage and are bloodied after taking that damage but not killed outright, apologies, but I have reported you to the Hague. Expect a knock on the door. This thing here is a war crime. It almost killed me. Yeah, please do not write things like that again. That is horrendous to read. Right, 14th level, Death's Master. As a bonus action, we can give all of our undead summons temp HP equal to our wizard level. Oh boy. We're probably going to have, like, 1 from Summon Undead, because they appear to be very much discouraging Animate Dead. So this is kind of a feature that requires you to use a spell that they appear to be discouraging. Why? The other thing that we get is Harvest Power. When we use Grimm's Harvest, we can either give our target advantage on attack rolls, or advantage on their next saving throw within 1 turn. Again, Grim Harvest isn't great, because it requires us to cast a necromancy spell, which aren't great. Yeah, so, the Necromancer, I think, is really kind of bad. Not necessarily because of the actual Necromancer features, other than, like, well, I think Undead Thralls is just a bad feature. It is bad because necromancy spells are bad, and necrotic damage spells are bad. If those were good, this would be a fine subclass, but they aren't, and this subclass is just entirely built around them. I don't see how you make a good necromancer if you're going down this sort of design route, and that's unfortunate. I mean, I don't particularly like the Necromancer anyway, as some of you will remember. I'm very anti-zombie, but, yeah, it's not a good subclass, this one, sorry. Transmuter! So, this one I actually like a lot. Transmutation Savant, this is a really good Savant list. There are so many good spells on this list. You've got Jump, you've got Blindness Deafness, which is now a Transmutation spell, not a Necromancy spell. That one tripped me up. You get Magic Weapon, you get Fly, you get Slow, you get Polymorph, Stone Shape, Pass Wall, so many other things. There's multiple good spells at every single level. Transmutation Savant is a brilliant feature. We also get Transmuter's Stone, and this is earlier than before, and I am happy with that. Durability is Constitution saving throw proficiency on whoever is holding your stone. That is a really good feature. Everyone wants Constitution saving throws. Yeah, Transmuter Stone is great. I can also see you choosing some of the other options every so often, whether that's a resistance to, like, I don't know, you're fighting a red dragon so you want fire resistance, or you're going to be in a cave and there's a human in the party so you want dark vision, or something like that. Sure. Speed, I will point out this one. This is speed with a capital S, and it does not have a duration, which means that it does not boost any special speeds, like fly speeds. Tell me down in the comments how much you're looking forward to suffering with that movement video, because I have just talked myself into making it, haven't I? Oh god. Oh no. Right, moving on. Wondrous Enchantment, also at level 3. We get Enhance ability for free, and we can cast it once without a spell slot. That is okay. Enhance ability is a very... It's a niche spell. It's normally not worth a second level spell slot, but because you can do it without a spell slot, this is essentially once per day, give someone advantage on all ability checks with 1 ability score. Cool! Yeah! I like that. That is a good feature. It also means, because of this second paragraph, that you can do it in combat to give the target advantage on their saving throw with that ability score as well. That gives it a decent combat use. Maybe you're fighting mind flares. and you really need people to have advantage on their intelligence saving throws. Enhanceability to the rescue. Yeah, this is a really good niche feature. I like this a lot. Now at 6th level we get Split Transmutation. This is essentially Twinned Spell, but for transmutation spells only. Cool. This works with loads of things actually. It works with, I've got a list here, Jump, Long Strider, Blindness Deafness, your boosted version of Enhanceability. You also get Fly, and a few others that are less good. But all of those are solid options that I might want to use Split Transmutation on. Sure. Then at 10th level we get Potent Stone. We now get to choose 2 options when we use our Transmuted Stone. That means that we get Constitution saving throws and resistance to poison. Brilliant. Yeah, okay. I am fine with that. Then at 14th level, this one I'm less hot on. We have to destroy our Transmuter Stone to either heal someone and remove a curse, or cast Raise Dead, or make them younger for some reason. That just doesn't feel great. We get to roleplay being a cleric for like 1 action by giving up half of our class features. Also, all these effects are either going to be sort of abjuration or necromancy, which I want a different level 14 Transmuter capstone, personally. I don't like this one, but overall, I think that Transmuter is a very solid support-focused wizard. I think that this one is really good. Savant, brilliant list. Wondrous Enhancement, I'm very happy with. The stone being earlier is good. Split Transmutation has loads of good options. Yeah, I am very happy with the new Transmuter. Okay, we're now going from the Transmuter that I really liked to the Arcane Archer. So, this one. Right, 3rd level. First up, we get a slightly upgraded version of Arcane Archer's lore. We're still picking between Druidcraft or Prestidigitation, but now we get both the Arcana and Nature skills for free instead of just one of them. I mean, sure. It's an alright ribbon. Okay. Now, Arcane Shot. So, this one has had a slight upgrade. Let's see. You can now use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier per short rest. So it used to be that you could use it twice per short rest. Now it is probably 2 or 3 times per short rest. I mean, it's an upgrade, I guess. I don't know. This isn't as good as the Battle Master. They get so many uses of their maneuvers, and we only get 2 or 3 probably. We also get the Arcane Shots, and these had a few changes between them. All of them are available at 3rd level. Come back to that, put a pin in it, come back to that. So, Banishing Shot. You can do a Charisma saving throw on your target, and you effectively banish them. You incapacitate them, so it also knocks out any concentration, and it lasts for 1 turn. That's pretty good, actually. I don't mind that. That is pretty good. Beguiling Shot. It's a Wisdom saving throw, or they are charmed. That is not good. Bursting Shot. You do a little bit of AoE damage when you hit. Fine, okay. Enfeebling Shot. You Constitution saving throw to poison the target, and whilst they're poisoned, they do a little bit less damage. Constitution saving throw and poisoned are not great, is fine. Grasping Shot, this one has seen a significant nerf. it now restrains the target and they make an action to get out of it, using a strength athletics check. Okay, this one's fine. Piercing shot. You can shoot through cover in a 1 foot wide line and do a little bit of extra damage. This one is fine. Seeking shot. You can shoot someone even if you can't see them, even if they're behind cover, and do a little bit of extra damage. It's fine. Shadow shot. You blind someone. It's fine. So the problem that I have here is that, let's say that you have banishing shot and bursting shot and grasping shot. Okay, I'm gonna spoil this a little bit. At level 10, you get to pick a 4th option. What are you picking? I mean, beguiling shots isn't good, so you don't want to pick that. Enfeebling shot, I mean, I guess it's a bit different. It's not a very good. I don't particularly want to pick that as a 10th level feature. Piercing shot. I mean, I've already got bursting shot, which does very similar stuff. I mean, they're slightly different. I don't particularly want to pick this as my 10th level feature. Seeking shot. I've already got bursting shot, which does similar. I don't particularly want to pick this as my 15th level feature. And shadow shot. I've already got grasping shot, which does very similar, and I think is actually probably better. I don't particularly want to choose this as my 10th level feature. There's too much redundancy here. There is none of these I want to take when I get to higher levels, because they are banishing shot, bursting shot, and grasping shot cover probably 80 to 90% of situations that I would want to use them for. The other thing is that if I, say, didn't take one of those three, I took a load of other things. Maybe I took banishing shot and bursting shot and piercing shot and seeking shot, and I am now, I would be 15th level. I'm now 15th level, so I'm choosing my 5th option. Do I want to choose a once per turn I can restrain someone? No. Even though it is something that is very different from anything that I can currently do, it's still weak. I don't want to choose that. The problem here is that not only are all of these kind of redundant with each other, they are also balanced for a 3rd level character. Everything here is accessible at 3rd level, so they have to be not broken for 3rd level. That means that when you get to higher levels, everything just feels weak. Everything is just really weak. You also don't get any good higher level features. You get, I do a bit of extra damage. Oh, I do a bit of extra damage. Oh, I do a bit of extra damage. Those aren't good features. After you pass 7th level in this subclass, you essentially no longer have a subclass that you're progressing through. This is really, really terrible at higher levels, and that is a fundamental design flaw. You cannot continue on this particular design path. I am going to be putting this in red on my survey, because I like the concept of the Arcane Archer, but this has fundamental design flaws. It feels bad past 7th level. You don't want to take anything. Nothing feels powerful past 7th level. No, this is a really, really bad subclass past 7th level. So, I've been talking a lot about 7th level there. What do you get at 7th level? Well, you get, if you're completely out of arcane shots, you get 1 back when you roll initiative. That's, not great, I must say. It's fine. But more importantly, you get Curving Shot, and this one is good. When you miss an attack roll, you can use a bonus action to make an additional attack against somebody else. That is really, really good on the fighter. Let's say that you took the archery fighting style, you have a 70% chance to hit somebody, but you're like level 11, so you get 3 attacks. Even though you have 70% chance to hit somebody, you still have a 65% chance to miss at least one shot. That means that you get a bonus action attack on 65% of your turns. That is just like, that is solid. That is a very good class feature. Yeah, I like Curving Shot. I don't like basically anything else about the Arcane Archer. Something that I will say actually is that the Arcane Shot now works with all weapons with the ammunition property. So that means it works with things like slings, it works with crossbows, it works with firearms if you want to use one of them. Yeah. The Arcane Archer, I like in concept. This design is not good. This design is very, very, very flawed. I don't see how you make an Arcane Archer without it just being a Battlemaster that is locked to archery, or a Eldritch Knight that is locked to archery. On the subject, actually, of everything here being accessible at 3rd level, you can say the same thing about the Battlemaster, but I don't have the same problem with the Battlemaster, because the Battlemaster, sure, they do have, oh, you can knock someone prone, or, oh, you can disarm someone, or you have things that you can do when you hit somebody. But you also have, you can allow your rogue to get double sneak attack, or you can boost your charisma check, or you can boost your initiative, or you can allow someone to get out of combat, or all sorts of other utility features. This is the big difference between the Battlemaster and the Arcane Archer. Everything that the Arcane Archer does is sort of a damage-focused combat option. The Battlemaster has loads of different avenues that it can use their Battlemaster dice on. Yeah. Arcane Archer, I am putting in red on my survey. Okay, let's go to the complete other end of the spectrum with the Ancestral Sorcery Sorcerer. So, this one has, I'm pretty sure, been copied directly from the D&D wiki. This is one of those subclasses that has seriously been homebrewed to within an inch of its life, so that whoever the player is can just pull random crap out of their arse to surprise the DM, catch them off guard, because they're an unexperienced DM who doesn't realise that the advice of always say yes is actually, like, horrendously bad advice. This one is so custom, it's amazingly, like, oh my word. I'm going to start with the spell list. So, you get Command, the single best spammable 1st level spell. You get Spirit Guardians and Yolan's Regal Presence for if you want to do, like, Emanation spam. You get some amazing information collection with Locate Object and Divination. And, I mean, Locate Creature and Legend Lore, like, they come up from time to time. You also get... you get, like, Protection from Evil and Good. You get Guidance. Oh my word. Every single spell on this list is not already on the Sorcerer spell list. Everything is a unique spell. What the hell? The worst spell on here is Magic Circle, which is, like, that's a good spell that comes up from time to time. What is this spell list? Who did they pay? So, outside of that, Ancestors Lore. Oh my word. This one lets you add your charisma to all intelligence checks. I mean, that is a fantastic feature. You also get proficiency in one of the intelligence skills. Great, okay. And then also at level 3, when you're using your innate sorcery, you have advantage on all, like, out-of-combat charisma checks. Okay, sure, why not? This is so cheap, by the way. Innate sorcery, you get that 2 times per day. If this is a social day, that is essentially free. Once you hit 7th level, this costs 2 sorcery points. It's so free. That is like an ungodly good 3rd level list of features. Oh my word. Then, 6th level. Oops, sorry, we forgot to say that you also have Counterspell and Dispel Magic on your spell list as well. Those are free preps. Sure, this guy just gets, how many is that? That is 10, 12, 14 free preps. Okay, sure. And whilst you've got innate sorcery active, you can, when you cast Counterspell, the target has disadvantage on the con save. If you cast Dispel Magic, you have advantage on the ability check. You can do that once per long rest because, like, I don't know, why not? Sure. Sorry, DM, I just cast Counterspell and the target has disadvantage on its save. Woo! 14th level, you get, okay, this one's actually, like, this one's fine. It's a 5-foot emanation aura, charisma saving throw, and the target becomes prone or frightened. That one's, like, okay. But also at 14th level, you never lose concentration. Do you see what I mean about this being from the D&D wiki? This is a homebrew subclass. Oh my god. And then at 18th level, once per innate sorcery usage, you get a legendary resistance against spells. And you also, whenever you've got innate sorcery active, you have advantage on saving throws against spells. If you use your legendary resistance, you could just spend 2 more sorcery points to just reactivate this. It's so free. It's so free. This thing is the best sorcerer by a mile. It's not even close. It is so ridiculously custom made. But, unlike the Xanathar's version of the Hexblade, I don't think that it completely invalidates the other subclasses. This is the best sorcerer subclass, but it doesn't make the other ones useless. There is still a reason to pick other subclasses. I think it needs a nerf. I think it needs a big nerf, but if this was printed, it would not ruin the sorcerer. I will say actually that I do quite like the flavour on this one. You have sort of an ancestor guiding you. It made me think of Ashok from the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior series by Larry Correa, I think it is. I mean, Ashok is absolutely not a sorcerer. The mechanics here do not follow through on the Ashok flavour, but I really like Ashok. Any readers out there, go pick up Saga of the Forgotten Warrior. It's a brilliant series. I genuinely think it's like on the level of Joe Abercrombie's works. It might even be better than Joe Abercrombie. Yeah, brilliant series of books. I definitely recommend them. And our final one is the Arcana Domain Cleric. This was already a very good subclass, and they've essentially just given it a touch-up, which is all I think it needed. The spell list. This is slightly better. They got Counterspell instead of, it used to be Magic Circle. That is a slight upgrade. They also got Bigby's Hand instead of Planar Binding? I think it was Planar Binding. Yeah. This is a general upgrade. Loads of good things on here. You get Magic Missile, that's a good spell. Magic Weapon, that's a good spell. Distills, that's a good spell. Counterspell and Dispel Magic, both good spells. Arcane Eye, good spell. Bigby's Hand, good spell. Yeah, loads of good things on here. I think that everything here, except for the Dispel Magic and Detect Magic, are unique to the Cleric. So, yeah, you get loads of things that are off of your normal spell list. Yeah, that's really good. Then Arcane Initiate, you get 2 cantrips from Wizard. Great. And you also get Expertise in Arcana. Cool. That is a slight upgrade. Expertise in Arcana is well received. Yeah, good feature. Then you get your Channel Divinity, and this one is a really good Channel Divinity. The Arcana Cleric used to have quite a bad one, but now it's really good. When you force a saving throw with a spell, roll 1d6 and deduct that from the saving throw. Great! That is a very, very good Channel Divinity. And it's even got a bit of versatility, because if you don't want to do that, you can give one target of like your Cure Wounds or your Bless or whatever 2d8 plus Cleric level temp HP. Great, yeah. This is a very good Channel Divinity with a bit of versatility. Solid. Very solid. Dispelling Recovery. This had a slight nerf actually. So this used to be when you heal someone, you can also end one spell on it. It's now, when you heal someone, you can use a bonus action to cast Dispel Magic with no spell slot. That is... Actually, no, it's a side grade. It now requires your bonus action, but it does end all spells, which could be good or bad, because it also ends any buff spells that you have on them, like, I don't know, Bless. It also works now if you use something like Lesser Restoration, because it's also when you cure a condition, but it has now been set so that it's Wisdom modifier per day. I think that overall this is a nerf. I'm not too bothered by it. I don't mind the nerf. I think that this is still a decent feature. I am okay with this. And then at level 17, you get 4 wizard spells of 6, 7, 8, and 9. That was always fantastic, because wizard spells at these levels are just, like, amazing. And every time you level up, you can change one of your spells. Awesome. Okay, sure. Brilliant. Yeah. This is a really good subclass. I am very happy with it. I don't particularly think that any changes are necessary. Really good. Just a small touch-up. Really good. So, overall, Arcana Domain. Solid, no notes. Arcane Archer. Read on my survey. I have fundamental design issues with it, mainly to do with the arcane shots all being 3rd level accessible, all being combat features, all being like redundant with each other. You get nothing at higher levels other than like slightly better damage. Yeah, fundamental design issues with this. I do not want them continuing with it. Then we have the Tattooed Warrior. I think that this is a interesting design path. I think that there's lots of good stuff on here. Butterfly, Chameleon, Crane, and Spider are all good options. On Celestial Tattoo, we have the best meme ever written, and some actually good features as well. Invisibility and Lesser Restoration. Misty Step I would also want to change. Level 11, change this. Monster Tattoo, I think that Blink Dog and Displacer Beast were probably mistakes, but overall, I like the idea with the Tattooed Warrior. I think it needs a bit of a fix, but overall, interesting choice. Ancestral Sorcery is a custom subclass, homebrew as hell, the the best spell list you could possibly want. The only thing missing here is like Cure Wounds. They just get to be good at like all skill checks for some reason. They get an even bigger spell list than all of the others. They never drop concentration. They get a legendary resistance. What the hell is this subclass? Oh my god. Hexblade. Very, very solid. No notes. I like this one. Just like all the way through, this is good. Conjurer. I mean, it's fine. I'd rather have a summoner than a teleporter, but if I wanted to play a teleporter, there's several subclasses that are good at that now. Yeah. It's fine. Enchanter. I don't understand this one. Like, the Savant isn't good. All of these features, what do they have to do with an Enchanter? Like, I'm sorry, I want to be able to control my enemies, not, like, be a rogue. What? Necromancer. This one has a fundamental issue, which is that necromancy spells and necrotic spells are just not good. If they were good, this would be a fine subclass. Because they're not good, this is not a good subclass. Yeah. And then Transmuter, I really like this one. The Savant is brilliant. Stone is solid. Wondrous Enhancement, I like. Split Transmutation, loads of good options. Potent Stone, good upgrade. Master Transmuter, I'm not so fond of this capstone, but like, if they didn't want to change this one at all, I wouldn't complain. Yeah, overall, I am mostly happy with this UA, with a couple of changes that I think need making. And one, like, thing that I do not want them printing. Solid UA. Thanks for watching. If you want to whet your appetite for how horrible and awful and brain-melting the movement video is going to be, here's a video about the last time WotC screwed it up, by accidentally making an infinite teleport. Subscribe, comment, share this around, and all of that jazz. Bye!